Hello, pre-cal. It is time to talk about right triangles, everybody's favorite thing. All right, now the reason we need to talk about right triangles is because we are going to begin Unit 5, and Unit 5 deals with trigonometric, I know it's a big word, okay, trigonometric ratios, and, oh, if I could write, that's the word that's terrible. Okay, and the unit circle. What is the unit circle, Ms. Griggs? You will find out soon enough. So when I talk about trigonometric ratios, I am talking about sine, cosine, and tangent, and then of course we'll talk about their reciprocals too. But for now, I'll just mention the fact that sine, cosine, and tangent, if you recall anything from geometry, you remember that you touched on these a little bit, and they have to do with right triangles. So that's why we're going to talk about a right triangle. Now, it doesn't matter how you draw a right triangle. Okay, I could draw it that way, I could draw it this way. Okay, I could draw it this way. All right, it doesn't matter as long as you recognize that there's a right angle in it. So let's talk about the anatomy of a right triangle. Remember, there can only be one right angle. That's what makes it a right triangle. So one right angle. And just to remind you, I am going to use for the word angle this symbol right here. That's what an angle symbol looks like. And then I want you to recognize that the side opposite the right angle is always called the hypotenuse. Okay, so the hypotenuse is also the longest side in the triangle, and of course the right angle is the largest angle. And to remind you, remember that a triangle, the sum of the angles, I'm having trouble with the word "the" today. So the sum of the angles equals 180 degrees all the time, no matter what kind of triangle it is. So when you have a right triangle, you need to recognize, let me switch colors here. You need to recognize that the other two angles, let's call this angle 1 and angle 2, those angles are always going to add to 90 degrees. Because if I've already got 90 degrees here and the whole triangle is 180, that means angle 1 plus angle 2 has to be 90 degrees. Okay, so now let's talk about some of the labeling in a right triangle. So I'm going to draw another right triangle over here to help you out. All right, so typically in math, we use Greek letters for symbols like angles, okay, or to symbolize angles. So for instance, let's say I've got this right triangle and I'm going to use theta. Okay, that is the symbol for the Greek letter theta. And I'm also going to name this angle up here angle beta, and that's just the Greek letter beta. Okay, so this is just common practice in math. We often use the Greek letters as, to designate angles, etc., etc. All right, so when I look at these two angles, if I'm addressing theta, that's this angle right here, it has a side that is adjacent to it, and it has a side that is opposite from it, okay? So the side that is adjacent to it is this one right here. See how it takes this side to form theta? So this is an adjacent side, and the side opposite it is the side opposite. Huh? Isn't that funny how words are? Okay, the reason we are not addressing this side is because it is always, always the hypotenuse. Okay, it doesn't have another name. Okay, so when I'm dealing with angle beta now, I'm going to switch colors again. When I am dealing with angle beta, now this side is beta's adjacent side, and the side over here is its opposite. All right, so depending on the perspective of the angle from which you're starting, the side that's opposite and the side that is adjacent will be different. And it is all in relation to its positioning from the angle. Okay, so which side you're looking at. Am I looking at the side right next to it? Or am I looking at the side across from it? So it is important that you understand this idea before we move on into Unit 5. So hopefully that kind of helps you just navigating the triangle a little bit, so that when I start talking about theta, you'll know I'm talking about an angle, or when I'm talking about beta, I'm talking about an angle. Also, you'll always remember that I've got a right angle here, and the hypotenuse is across from the right angle, etc., etc. So all of this stuff is important moving forward into Unit 5.